This episode of the ABIC Podcast is brought to you by Professional Beauty Solutions. Hello and welcome to the ABIC Podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we're strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is the ABIC Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller, and today's guest is Brittany Dailey, President of Youngblood Mineral Cosmetics. Youngblood is a globally respected brand in clean beauty and mineral makeup. With over 18 years of experience across sales, marketing, branding, and education, Brittany brings a deep understanding of what it takes to lead and evolve within the cosmetics and beauty industry. Her extensive background includes executive roles with brands such as VI Peel and Sutra, where she played a pivotal role in brand development, strategy, and international growth. As a licensed esthetician and certified makeup artist, Brittany has worked across both the professional and consumer beauty space, from red carpet glam to clinical skincare. Now, at the helm of Youngblood, Brittany continues to drive innovation in mineral cosmetics, helping salons and clinics elevate results and client care through clean beauty. Here to dive deep into the most crucial step in skincare, from Youngblood Mineral Cosmetics, today we welcome Brittany Dailey. Welcome to the podcast, Brittany. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and to chat with you.
What we do is we start the podcast with an in-depth view of our guests and how they came to be in the beauty and aesthetic industry. So please tell us your background and share your journey with us.
Oh, I'd love to. I have had a passion for the beauty industry for as long as I could remember. About 21 years ago, I really just had this desire to become a professional makeup artist. And this is where my journey starts in the industry. And I decided to go take a bunch of courses, get certified, and I immediately jumped into this professional makeup artist role. So I started working with brands like MAC and NARS and a few others that were just makeup artist brands at that time. And I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with makeup in general because you get this instant gratification of just people's, experience and look. And it was just so gratifying and so amazing. But while I was doing that, I started to get some opportunities with some brands when I was contracting to start doing some education. And I always wanted to be this professional makeup artist, and I was very interested in skincare. And I never really played with education. And when I had the opportunity, I went, that's interesting. And so I decided to start working with some makeup brands and skincare brands and started doing some education. And when I say it opened up my eyes, it was such a really cool experience because I thought that I'd always be the one doing the makeup and yes, I loved talking to people and discussing, what their everyday routines are. Hey, maybe I'm red carpet or backstage and doing all of these things. But there was a very different connection when I started to do education. And it was really telling the story of these brands and what's their unique selling points and getting them excited about formulations and innovation. And it really just kind of took me into this whole nother aspect I didn't expect from the industry. And I started to get really excited about education, which then opened my eyes to product development and the brand side of everything. And so being a professional makeup artist for the better part of my career, I kind of had this idea of this is how you get something to stay a little longer. Hey, how about we try to use these kind of ingredients? And so I was lucky enough to start working with brands that just gave me a platform. And I started to just kind of hone in on this whole branding marketing role. And I started to do that the better part of my career. So I went from professional makeup artist to you know what? I think that there's so much to be said and done on this beauty side of the professional branding and marketing that I think I want to put all of my energy and pursue my path and my career this way. So It was an interesting start to my career and really fulfilling and exciting. And actually, I started to work with a few different brands that I then went back and did some marketing and branding with. And Youngblood was actually one of them, which was very exciting. So I worked with Youngblood years ago and for about 8 years did some education, some makeup artistry, and some sales. I've always been connected to the brand. I loved it so much. But obviously, I was going into a bigger path and went into some other roles with some really great brands as well later on in my career. But yeah, just fast forward to just a few years back, I was working for a notable professional medical grade chemical peel company here in the US and was the director of trade marketing there and had these initiatives to really kind of build and do a lot of education and branding within marketing to these professionals, to the clinicians, to the dermatologists. And I was super excited to kind of kick off these big initiatives. And one day I get this call and I'm like, who is this? And they said, we're new owners for Youngblood. And I went, oh, well, that's interesting. And they said, we really want you to come back to the brand and want you to come over here and run the company with us. So I was recruited to come back to Youngblood, and that's where I've been the last couple of years. So it's been really exciting and a very full come circle moment back home here to Youngblood.
That's huge. And what a beautiful story. You know what's fascinating? It always strikes me because every time I speak to somebody in a position such as yours, you can actually see the evolution between when you start in the beauty and aesthetic industry, and there's so many diverse paths that can take us in so many different directions. I mean, going from, hands-on to marketing and product development and education as well. That just shows everybody out there listening that there are so many opportunities and so many learning experiences in our industry.
Yeah, I find it to be so wild. The beauty world is so big yet so small.
Yeah.
And everybody is connected. And I would say like the biggest piece of advice I have, ever given, my team members and people that I've known and colleagues is stay connected, get your hands in there, work hard, get to know people, always leave on good rapport because it really is such a diverse and exciting place to be, the beauty industry. And I think that if you really want to get in it, you just got to get your hands in and just stay connected and try things. And as long as you're passionate and you have the will to learn, it's a huge, wonderful place to be.
And it's inevitable that we all become interested in the dermatological, the skin science side, what is certain ingredients, how do they work with the skin? We all get pulled in that direction, and that was your calling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. I am such an ingredient like junkie. I want to know what it's everything that I put on my skin. And not to the point where I want it so non-toxic and natural that it doesn't work. I believe in science. I believe in ingredients that are going to drive results. So yeah, and then I didn't even mention that I actually got my, license in aesthetics while I was doing product development because I really wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. And for me, even it was product development education, I still wanted that hands-on experience. I still wanted to go through all of the school. And so I did that as well in the middle of my career just to get some more education. So it's out there. You just gotta put yourself in it.
I agree. Absolutely. Education is the way to go. And just for yourself personally, what you put in to your own development, you can never lose, So even if you're working for a company and you're like, oh, I need to do training because I'm part of this company, you actually, if you leave the company, you take that knowledge with you. And speaking of knowledge and education, in your travels and, in your experience, you came across two very distinct types of makeup. So there's traditional makeup and then there's mineral makeup. So can you tell us a little bit about, from a dermatological and skin and also formulation perspective, what is the difference between the two?
Yes, absolutely. It's so interesting because, again, Youngblood started about 30 years ago, and this was like when minerals started to pop off. And there was a few other leading brands, but really we were just really the leaders in this OG mineral space. But there is a clear difference, and not all minerals are created equal. I want to just say that, and I would never put anybody else down, but I actually worked with competitors in the market in the mineral space. I again have worked with traditional makeup that is a makeup artistry brand. And it is hard for our consumers and our clients to find a brand that's in clean beauty, that's in minerals, that are good for your skin, but also have that performance. And I feel as though obviously traditional makeup can be, inflammatory. It can be clogging pores. It can be, aging us. And it just really depends on what the ingredient deck is. What are we putting on our skin? Being aware of it. We throw around words like non-toxic and we, formulate free of this and we're clean beauty, but it really is what we put on our skin that matters. So minerals are known to be less, inflammatory. They're really good for the skin of calming the skin and aiding in protection and providing, after post-treatment, this really beautiful coverage that still allows your skin to breathe. So there's this difference of making sure that it's, minimal ingredients, really protective over the skin. Whereas traditional makeup, it's meant to be used, to really show pigment and stay on all day. And they care less about what's you're putting in the formulas versus what the outcome is. And so I think, finding a brand that really can bridge the gap, it's hard to do, but once you find it, it's like you can't go back. Once you find the right brand, you're good.
I know I do that myself. I stick to a particular brand of makeup. I get really scared about venturing out and trying different things, but I think that's where the fun and the beauty is as well. Speaking of ingredients, inside mineral makeup, there are particular compounds. So you have things like zinc oxide, titanium oxide, or iron oxides. These are the specific compounds that have the anti-inflammatory and healing benefits for the skin, right?
Absolutely. And honestly, this is why the foundations were formulated, was out of this space of the medical dermatology space. It was really something that was lacking. How can we do something to the skin post-treatment or someone's everyday life that doesn't create inflammation? Mm-hmm. Because as we know, and as we've been starting to learn more about, is inflammation equals aging. And nobody wants to age. Let's just be honest. So it's really, looking at these ingredients and minerals that are meant to be calming for the skin, that are meant to not have adverse reactions. And I think if you were post needling or if you had a chemical peel, the last thing you want to do is create inflammation, right? Because then we have post, hyperpigmentation and we can irritate melasma. And there's just so much that goes along with simply putting makeup on the skin. And I think that's why we really need to start talking about makeup less as in addition to, but really more as part of our daily routine. We care about our skin, what we do to it. We should be doing that from start to finish throughout the day.
Interestingly, we were just chatting previously. I had a spongial spicule treatment about 4 days ago, and I was told, do not put makeup on this. And of course, you wouldn't want to do that. But obviously I have access to minerals because, I've been in the industry for a long time, know the benefits of them. So I said, look, if I lightly powder minerals over the top of this, how is it going to fare? And the answer was, yeah, probably anti-inflammatory. So I gave it a go. I tried it and, covered my face in loose powder because I didn't want to, pat the spicules in too much. And I left it there for a whole day. The expected day 2 is supposed to be a little bit more irritating than day 1. In actual fact, my day 2 was so comfortable. The recovery was so quick. And I have to attribute this to minerals. After clinical treatments such as laser and microneedling, typically can't put, unless it's ablative. Of course, you wouldn't want to put anything after ablative. But if you're talking about, the less invasive treatments, such as skin rejuvenation, peels, and things like that, what's your stance on using mineral makeup so soon after a treatment such as that?
I 100% agree with you. I would do the same thing because here's the thing. I'm treating my skin for hyperpigmentation and melasma and things I want to cover. The last thing I want to do is irritate the skin, obviously, but I also can't go without makeup. I'm not one of the people. I like people that go to the gym and say I don't have to wear makeup. I'm like, no, that's not me. It's not
at all.
That's not going to be me. I'm not your girl for that. But I think what's really important is knowing that with our loose foundation and minerals, we have 4 ingredients in our mineral loose foundation. It is going to be very clean. It is going to be very calming, and it's going to be perfect for post-treatment. And minerals are meant for that. That's meant to calm the skin. You have mineral-rich, skin in general, so it's actually meant to calm. And so I would 100% agree with you. Listen, I always say, ask your dermatologist, ask your clinician, just make sure. But in your point, you already knew minerals were going to be calming for the skin. It's going to not have adverse reactions. So I 100% agree. And this is something that mineral makeup should be really added into your clinic room. Like if you're doing a treatment, you should have just your basic complexion products that are mineral based so that you can already start having those communications, those conversations with your customer and your client of saying, hey, this is not a hard sell. I'm not hard selling you something. It's something that's going to be great. That's going to be part of your skincare routine, your daily beauty routine. And I'm going to start talking to you about it early on. So it doesn't feel like I'm hard selling them because you're really doing them a disservice by not giving them take home products. And why would minerals not be part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is proven data out there that, extending the post-inflammatory inflammation period or extending the inflammation after treatment actually contributes to, pigment changes. So the longer your skin is inflamed, the worse it is for pigment and for your skin condition. You want to create that, trauma or that micro trauma very quickly, and you want to reduce that inflammation just as quickly. Right. So anything you can do to then calm the skin after the procedure is going to really shorten the healing timeline, but also patient comfort.
Right, absolutely. And that's one big thing is obviously we do a lot of trauma to our skin to get some kind of reaction, but then we don't want the reaction to keep going. And that's like the same thing with, just having melasma or hyperpigmentation or any of that. Your skin's reacting. You only want to get a quick reaction. And then, like you said, you want to calm it down so that it doesn't go into a different space, so inflammation and all of that stuff creates more problems. So I agree with you. Do the treatments, keep up with your routines, go to your once a month treatments. But in between that time, taking care of the skin, calming the skin, giving it a safe space to heal, I think is really important.
I've heard that mineral skincare is actually antimicrobial and non-comedogenic. Now, how do you say how do you say that?
But I say it very like cowgirl almost, like
Okay, say it again.
non-comedogenic.
Non-comedogenic. I love that. Oh, it's such a beautiful accent. So is it true?
Yes, it's very much true. And that's the whole point of, switching to a mineral brand that really, you look at the formulation and you know that it's going to be non-comedogenic. It's not going to clog your pores. Anyone who has acneic skin or reactive skin, this is a perfect solution for them because, I mean, like I said, I grew up in the beauty world and I was so excited about working with traditional makeup. But personally, I can't wear it. I'm very sensitive and I would love to keep up with trends and I would love to have blush blindness and do all of the fun things with makeup right now. But if I don't have an option like what I have right now in a mineral space, it's like really, high performance and good quality. I'm stuck with going, I can't keep up with trends. I can't wear all of those things because they clog my pores, because I have adverse reactions and inflammation. I never broke out in my entire life as a, young person. And then in my early 20s, hormones came through and said, hey, I'm going to destroy your skin. And so I had just intense breakouts. And when I started using mineral makeup, when I started working with Youngblood, I was with a competitor before that too, just got introduced to minerals, my skin forever changed. I will never look back. And the reason being, if you are sensitive and you have acneic skin or melasma or reactive, rosacea, it really matters what you put on your skin. So traditional makeups that I was applying to models and, my brides and all of these things, I felt bad because I couldn't even wear it. And here I'm saying, here, let me spackle this thick, foundation on your skin. And then at the end of the day, I had models asking me to clean and wash their faces because they didn't want to break out for their next shoot the next day. So you can imagine it's such an interesting world. You want to keep up with trends and you want to have this professional, quality, like performance driven, company and brand that you can support. But it was really hard to find the two. And I feel like, with minerals, they're just so effective at helping the skin heal. I would have a breakout. I would use my loose mineral foundation. And then the next day, it almost felt like it was like flaking off of my skin quicker, like drying up. The inflammation was going away. And I was just having calm skin. And with calm, non-reactive skin, I was getting healing. And I thought that was really cool.
That's so special. There's so much evidence out there now that actually acne and breakout, the real reason behind it is preclinical inflammation. So inflammation, even before you see the inflammation in the pore, is the thing that actually begins the cascade and starts the process of creating, that breakout. And we used to think it was everybody's got the bacteria, P acne, C acne on their skin, and not everybody has acne. So, we always wondered what was the difference? What was the, tipping point? And this science has shown that it is inflammation, and therefore it makes complete sense that when you're applying this antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory treatment, which is in the form of, minerals on your face, it has a really positive effect on hormonal breakout or any breakout that is, inflammatory in nature. And I've had that same experience because I went through a similar time in my life where, as a young girl, I didn't have anything, but then in my adult years, I started, and that was when I started using makeup, I'm pretty sure. So it's a lot of people in our industry will resonate, but there's also some other incredible benefits for mineral makeup. One of them is the incredible photo protection that you get. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, this is great. So we don't claim like a UV on our, protection, but minerals bounce back light. And so when you're, applying your loose foundations and your powders and you're getting this protection on your skin that's not chemical, that's not going to be reactive, it's just literally bouncing back rays. So it's so unique and cool because it protects the skin in a lot of different ways without having to, apply a chemical or apply something that was going to, bounce back anything else. So we have this amazing benefit that when we apply it, it's just kind of protecting the skin from anything kind of getting through or kind of irritating or creating inflammation. It almost gives you kind of like this shield.
Oh, yeah. And talking about shields, I mean, the microbiome is extremely important. We know there's so much buzz about microbiome now in skincare, your skin microbiome, your gut microbiome. And that's one thing we don't really consider when putting makeup on our skin. But microbiome balance, how does makeup disrupt that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can imagine. So your skin's a sponge. Like we wanted to take all the good stuff, but sometimes it takes the bad stuff with it, right? And so environmental stressors and all of these things upset the skin's balance. And when the skin is out of balance, we're getting irritation, inflammation, we're getting reactive melanocytes, we're getting a lot of things in the skin. And by balancing that with good minerals and good clean beauty, we actually calm that skin. And again, I think the theme here that stuff you and I keep mentioning is like calming the skin, making it so that it's in a safe space so it doesn't have reactions. And I think the great thing about minerals and clean beauty in general is not disrupting the microbiome. It's not disrupting the irritation of the skin. And so I think just being really aware of what you're putting on your skin really matters. And again, we care so much about our skincare and we forget sometimes that makeup is equally as important.
Professional Beauty Solutions is Australia's leading distributor of world-class beauty brands. From cutting-edge skincare and cosmeceuticals to advanced devices and professional treatments, PBS equips salons, spas and clinics with everything they need to elevate results and grow their business. Looking for high-performance brands backed by education and support? Partner with PBS today and take your business to the next level. Visit www.probeautysolutions.com.au to learn more. We keep saying this word clean beauty, and every single brand, I think, has a definition of what they consider to be clean because there's no universal definition of clean beauty or clean science in skincare and things like that. What is Youngblood's philosophy on clean and breathable formulas? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. This is something that we love here, at least in America. It's everybody's clean. And it's like, what is your version of clean? And it really is like what the brand's ethos, like whatever they stand for is like what their version of clean. Maybe it's just enough to get global, recognition or, pass regulatory. Maybe it's just that, oh, we don't use these, heavy, these oils. It just depends on what the brand stands for. With Youngblood, we really are unique in the clean beauty space. And the reason I say that is, yes, we are non-toxic. We, use minerals as our base. We actually formulate free of 1,400 plus raw ingredients. Okay.
Wow.
So we really are serious about formulations and we are serious about our products, but it's not just what we keep out, it's what we put in. And I think that's what's so unique about Youngblood. Hey, we never set it to be 100% natural. Like at some point and at some age, which is mine, I'd like something to work. So I feel like, yes, right. And so I think it's so important. Like, what are we putting in the formulas? We can take everything out, but listen, I don't just throw, olive oil on my face. I actually want something to happen. And so, we formulate with ceramides and peptides and hyaluronic acid. And how can we use science and nature together to really like calm the skin and smooth and firm? And for us, clean beauty means that we are clean, we're non-toxic, but we are going to be performance driven. And you never have to compromise your products for an everyday beauty look that you want to recreate. I just mentioned like blush blindness and so much going on out there. And it's just that makeup is having such a moment of color, and it's not just complexion. And we have these up and down and ever changing trends, but I think what's so cool about Youngblood and why we've been around for so many years is that we're quality performance driven formulas. So if you touch a mineral brand, sometimes if you go to grab a black, it almost looks gray. Like sometimes it just doesn't have a true to tone color. And if you grab Youngblood's black, you are like, this is like the iron oxides are so rich and everything is milled so finely that you just get true tone. And it's same thing goes for like our loose mineral foundation. Some people are like, how do I handle a powder foundation? I don't want to look powdery. And if you grab Youngblood's powder foundation, we are milled so finely and we really stay true to like skin tone. It almost looks buttery. It looks almost like this beautiful cream finish. So it's just really in formulations and how we kind of present ourselves in clean beauty. We're like, hey, you can do both. And I feel like giving people that option is just like no one does it. And I feel like that's why we push so hard on formulations and innovation, just to push the boundaries. And it's something that we've been putting a lot of effort into the last couple of years. And this year we have a lot of launches that you're going to see pushing boundaries, which is very exciting.
Well, how exciting. And I love it when ethics meets innovation, because you can do it better. There is a way to do it better. It's just so wonderful and refreshing when you're speaking to someone and they have that ethics at the core of what they do. And you feel like you're in good hands, and you can trust your skin when you use something that the brand espouses. That is our core belief, or that is our why, because we're so interested in the why and the personality of a brand these days. It's not just market to us, it's what else do you have, how can you educate me, how can you make my life better and improve my situation. And I think that's such a more meaningful angle when you're coming from a brand as well. And you know what? I love you talking about those trends. I need to ask you, what's blush blindness?
Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. It's so many blush looks, and so many people are layering so many cream blushes and so much powder. And I think we've had this trend going on it's been like a year, and it just doesn't quit. At least here, I know that in Australia, with PBS, we launched our cream blushes about over a year ago, and it doesn't quit. This trend just keeps on giving. And I think that's a thing. Like if I were to look at that trend and I didn't have like a brand like Youngblood, my minerals, my clean beauty, I would love the idea of doing a cream blush. But I think if I were to put that on, because I have tried competitors out in the market, traditional makeup, and typically they are slick, they look more wet. If you have any kind of oil in your skin, it just looks worse. The product doesn't stay on very long. And the color fades, and so I think what's so great about Youngblood and just our, ethos in general of being performance driven, if you swipe, I'm going to get you some cream blushes, by the way. But if you swipe, the color is just so intense and beautiful. And it also has the ceramides that we talked about, peptides and hyaluronic acid. So the more that you use it, you're actually smoothing and firming around the eye area and around the cheek area. So we've thought of like, this skincare stick with color basically, and just melded the two. And it's just been amazing for us.
Oh, I love that. I need to get my hands on that. Anything to do with anti-aging. I just turned 50 this year. And so I'm becoming completely obsessed with my anti-aging routines and what can I do to minimize my pores, and what can I do to, give this smooth complexion? Because of course this, glass look is everywhere, and, it's really hard to keep up. What does mineral makeup do, and in particular Youngblood, do to smooth pores and sort of not sit inside wrinkles?
Yeah, absolutely. So our loose mineral foundation, again, we talked about sometimes they can look powdery. They don't look true to tone. Our product is very simple. It's got very good, clean ingredients, but it's really in our milling process of why we make it look so creamy and velvety on the skin versus just sitting. And so I think when you feel it, when you touch it, if you were to go take any kind of like powder, typically you would kind of like drag it across the skin, it would skip, right? If you take ours, it just glides. It just glides like butter. And so I think for us, it's just really in finding ways to push innovation and formulation of, okay, well, we're going to mill this really finely and we're going to use these certain ingredients that are very like high end. We're not going to skimp out and we're going to make sure that they're ethically sourced and they're really great, for the skin. But really, it's the performance. And so for us, again, other cream, any kind of like loose foundation would sit kind of in fine lines and
Yeah.
areas. It just glides and it moves with your skin. So it's breathable. It's, you can move your face without having those cracks and crannies kind of showing through. Um, I think it's really just pushing innovation of how you're going to do something. You can do it, but if you're not going to do it well, like we say this all the time with our team, if it's not something we would all fall in love with, get it out of the line.
Oh, I like that. What are some other trends that are out there? You've got this blush blindness. Anything else that we should know about?
Yeah, there's been obviously as us here in the US start to get closer to summer, people starting to do more of that glass skin look, which I think still translates for you guys. You just mentioned, this glass skin and clean, beautiful skin, but really beautiful blush on the cheek that just kind of gives that youthful appearance. And then what we're starting to see is more sculpted cheek and a little bit of a pop of highlighter. So you're seeing like a very clean skin and you're seeing this really beautiful chiseled look with this like beautiful, youthful, full blush. And so luckily we have those launching soon, contour and highlight. We've got a lot of amazing things happening this year. But those are the trends that we're seeing: clean, beautiful skin that looks like skin, but with these beautiful pops of color.
I love that. And especially as you're aging, you want your skin to look like, more makeup as you get older can really age you. So you start going from, I was younger and in my 20s and 30s with a heavy makeup look, and then you're getting, a little bit older and then into your 50s and you want a fresh, light, youthful look. And nothing that kind of sits in the skin. But also as we age, we're seeing so many inflammatory skin conditions now, especially after, I think it really did happen before COVID, obviously, but after COVID, we're seeing so many more inflammatory skin conditions coming through. And I'm not sure if that's, antibacterial use or whatever it could be, that's actually triggering this. But there are so many patients that come into my clinics with now inflammatory skin conditions, rosacea, dermatitis, unknown autoimmune, flare-ups that are going on. Are there any contraindications or limitations when using mineral makeup on those types of patients?
It is interesting because I've seen the same thing, Steph, and it's even with me, I never really had like, eczema or something like that. I think stress has a lot to do with, just the world in general is a little stressful, I think. And so I think that maybe that it triggered some stuff, hormonal, and then maybe environmental stressors. But no, I mean, there's absolutely no contraindications of minerals. The only thing I could think of is if you're looking at ingredients with other brands that maybe use more food based ingredients, avocado or things like that. If somebody has food sensitivities, maybe. But for our brand, we keep it very clean. We try not to do too much of that because that could, create some kind of, reaction. But we really, really formulate clean. And so you wouldn't have that issue with Youngblood.
No, that's really cool. And in the future, I mean, it's always evolving, our industry. How do you actually see the mineral makeup world evolving? Are there innovations in this space that will help even more in a therapeutic manner?
Yeah, I think so. I think that minerals have been around for so long now. And then I think what happened was everyone started talking about clean beauty, right? And so they kind of like, what is mineral? What's clean beauty? What does this mean to me? And I think there's a way that we've been communicating with our partners and globally with our consumers is we are a mineral brand, but we're pushing innovation. We're taking minerals and we're changing them in a way that is a really good, positive, calming way for the skin to get these great ingredients. Like for instance, we have a new complexion product launching in a few months, And we've taken magnesium PCA along with blue and white lotus and have just made this beautiful complex that just calms the skin. It literally acts like nature's Botox and just calms the skin. It's really rich in electrolytes and magnesium PCA minerals and just really great for the skin. So these innovative ways of taking minerals versus just your traditional, here's your mineral, titanium dioxide, iron, how do we take minerals that are going to work really well with our skin and just calm while also giving amazing, protection and giving your skin this beautiful coverage that's just going to last all day long. We did a lot of clinicals and claims with this new complexion product that no clean beauty brand is doing, because a lot of the times you can't get this kind of performance. You can't get 12-hour wear. You can't get non-comedogenic, waterproof, transfer proof. This is with a clean mineral foundation.
There's a whole concept in, skincare as makeup, or your makeup is your skincare.
Absolutely.
And do you feel like you're talking about magnesium. I did a deep dive into magnesium over the last few months. And, magnesium is like the absolute hero mineral that can, alleviate not just muscle cramps and, digestion issues and things like that. I mean, they're talking about using it to increase your, brain capacity to stave off conditions, age-related conditions. There's even science talking about the positive effects on Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that. It's such a powerful ingredient, internally, and then you wonder externally, if it's so powerful inside, what will it do to the outside? The fact that you're pulling all these ingredients in, do you see that, makeup as skincare evolution continuing?
Absolutely. And I think that people are so much more curious now about ingredients and formulations and what they put on their skin because they have so many options, right? So before it was like, here's your options. You've got the traditional makeup, 3 big brands, and you've got 2 over here that, and I think now there's just so much more in the market. So people are curious in there and they want to know. And just like you, they're researching ingredients. They're like, what? Okay, I take magnesium to help me sleep. What does that mean? What can I do with that? And I think just being really innovative and not being lazy when it comes to formulas. I think just us as a whole, our whole entire company is all about like, how can we do this better? And how can we just take what we've been doing for so many years and innovate and evolve and do something unique? And so all of this year of launches is doing just that. Like, how can we make skincare part of our makeup routine, all vice versa, hand in hand, using ingredients that are synergistically in our skincare so that they all work really well together. And you're going to see it. You're going to see it in one swipe application that's full coverage, that doesn't clog your pores, that's got all of these claims, that has like these hydrating properties, that uses magnesium PCA alongside these lotus plants to really just calm inflammation, give you a rested look, make your skin feel at ease. Again, we keep going back to this conversation of when your skin is at rest after it's had some trauma. Of course, we want to give some trauma. We want to calm the skin from inflammation. And so everything that we're doing in our formulations does just that. We get a little reaction, but then we also have some calming properties to it.
There's another thing that, as you were speaking, I was thinking about that. I mean, we're an aging population. A lot of our clientele, as clinic owner, they're menopausal women. They're coming in, they're going there either perimenopausal or they're menopausal. And during this period of time, I think that's when we're seeing a lot of inflammation, a lot of skin inflammation, a lot of, sort of conditions arise. This is a perfect, I suppose, option for that particular age group. I know that I'm going to be going through it too soon. And, I'm finding my skin more reactive these days. Whenever I'm not careful about what I'm doing, or, if I'm eating something that's possibly a little bit inflammatory. And I find that, women at this age group, they're seeking something different. And we were talking about mineral makeup and how it complements aging and things like that. I think it's of a special interest for that age group, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And nowadays, because of stress and because of environmental stressors, our hormones are all over the place, right? And so it's happening at a younger age to a lot of people. Like, I don't have children. I know it's going to happen to me sooner than a lot of other people because I didn't have kids, and just hormones are just so different.
I'm in the same boat. No kids. Yeah. Wondering,
we got the bad end of the stick where they're like, now. But I think just having these conversations, not making it feel like it's taboo, because it's annoying. Honestly, women are dealing and men are dealing with so much in general, but like, let's just take out the stigma. Like, what is good for our environment? What's good for our skin? What creates inflammation? Like, okay, well, there's hormonal changes, environmental, food, everything that we just talked about, and taking that away and saying, okay, you don't have to have an irritating, makeup brand that's going to kind of irritate your skin, but you're still getting that coverage, but you're just having all this inflammation. Then you have to cover up even more, right? So you've now created a cycle of traditional makeup covering some irritation, some redness, some rosacea. Maybe there's other things that are coming up like melasma because of hormones. And next thing you know, you're covering up more and you're creating more inflammation, and you're in this cycle. Can't stop, right? And I think that's what's so important, finding a brand that you can have the coverage, you can have all of the makeup trends we just talked about, but you don't have to compromise. You get both in one. Find a brand that cares enough, because there's enough out there that are just throwing celebrities' names on them or doing whatever, but they don't care enough to say, okay, what's this going to do to my client's skin? What is this going to do? Can a makeup artist use this? Is it quality enough, performance enough? Is a clinician be able to use this post-treatment? Thinking about these things and all of formulations and innovations, it's just so, just what is it to you to like bring makeup like this into the world, and how are you communicating it?
Oh, I love that. And just finally, as a clinic or salon owner, there's just so many products out there to choose from. And a lot of them, to be honest with you, in Australia, I've noticed that a lot of them don't actually carry mineral makeup or makeup. So you are doing these treatments on clients and patients. They're walking out inflamed, and the decision is, possibly not to stock minerals. What would you say to business owners as the business building side of, what we do? Why is it beneficial to actually have this type of product available?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of education about this years ago, and it's so funny because we have so many clinicians and hairstylists and so many people that go, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to sell makeup. And I'm like, well, first of all, stop, because it's not about sales, right? It's about somebody coming to you for your expertise. And for someone to come, they already trust you. They're coming into you. You're doing them a disservice by not saying, take home these products, right? And makeup is part of that. And instead of doing a hard sell, like, hey, let me show you our makeup station, what you can do is seamlessly transition them while they're in that, that treatment room. Talk to them about their daily routines. Talk to them about what they're doing. Maybe they're in for inflammation and melasma. Okay, well, what are we using at home? Let's talk. Let's have these conversations, because instead of treating it like a sales thing, we're treating it like you're part of my community. I'm helping you. And I think it's the same thing. I say the same things about people who go get hair extensions that spend thousands of dollars, and then no one sends them home with shampoo that's not going to break down their bonds. And I'm like, well, this makes sense. They're hand in hand, Same thing. I just did my yearly eyebrow microblading appointment. I have my routine. I can't mess with anything but this routine. And it's the same thing. They're in there. They're talking to you because they trust you. They want a routine. They don't want to have, inflamed skin. They want to come back to you. Maybe it's, you're on a treatment plan. What is it that you take home outside of skincare? Because I'll tell you right now, when they go home and they use something that's going to clog their pores and create inflammation, they're going to come back to you and say, this didn't work. And
they do. And they do.
Oh, they do. They love it. That's their favorite game.
It made me break out, It's
yeah.
like, what did you put on after the treatment?
Absolutely. So I think keeping it in the clinic room in the beginning, having that conversation early on, after you're doing your skin treatment, I'm going to dust a little mineral powder on you. Oh, why did you do that? Well, it's going to calm your skin. And we just created some trauma that of course we wanted, but now we want to calm it. We want you to have some protection. You're going to be able to use this. It's not going to have any adverse reactions. This is something you should incorporate into your daily routine. Then you walk them out and you've already had that conversation. It's easy. You're not hard selling. I already applied it to you because I believe in it. And as you're leaving, you can say, here's the products I'd like for you to take home. And you create this natural relationship, because of course you would do that. They're coming to you, they trust you, but they're going to go somewhere else to get something. And it's not going to be, it's probably not going to help what you just did in clinic. So
well, that's beautiful. I actually love the fact that we're finishing on that wonderful note. And, I've been fascinated talking about this because I don't get to talk about makeup stuff very often. And it's, It is really, really refreshing to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much as well for supporting the Australian beauty and aesthetic industry through your foundation membership through PBS. It means so much to our organisation, but it means so much to the industry because your sponsorship, your donations actually help to provide HR, IR services, legal services, and education and self-regulation reform in Australia, which is something that we're going through right now. And I know that, this has touched the US as well in recent times, that you guys have gone through a little bit of a hard time with, your estheticians and clinicians there as well. So thank you so much, Brittany. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
So good to meet you, Stefan. It was super fun to talk about it.
Thanks everyone for listening. Bye. You've reached the end of another episode of the ABIC Podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.